Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope Today. I'm super excited about my first guest. Her name is Erica Hanlon. She's a therapist, corporate peon who went from 3K to 300K in 2 years in her life coaching business. And at that time, she was still listening to that voice in her head that said, "You suck, Erica." She helps her clients stop self-sabotage, stop being rude to themselves, and learn to trust themselves so that they can make big moves in their life, in their career, and business. Welcome to the show today, Erica.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So that must be quite a jump from going from being a former therapist, working in the jail, like you said.
Yeah.
Sex offender therapist. I bet you've seen all kinds of things.
Oh, I've seen all kinds of things. Nothing. I don't know that I can be shocked anymore.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine like what the stories would be. So, do you think that training, what you've been in that life when you did that work, do you feel that that work supported you to really be a courageous ass in today's world?
Yeah. So I always love a challenge. I think the reason that I became a therapist for sex offenders is that I really wanted to explore like what is the difference between who people are and what people do, and like what are people really capable of, and what are the possibilities when you introduce healing and opportunity, and you just are able to hold space without any judgment for people. So I did that for like 11 years. So yeah, I have a lot of stories.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, and then, holding space for people in that way to where because they judge themselves.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
they judge themselves, they also think you're going to judge them too. And for them to learn a new way of being where they can be witnessed and be with someone that is holding space for them without judgment, no matter what they've done.
Yeah. Yes. And I attract people who are really already successful in their lives. Maybe they checked all the boxes. They went to college, maybe grad school, got good jobs, house, partner, dog, picket fence, check, check, check. And then at some point, they are finally sort of stable enough that they look around and they're able to question, is this what I really want to do? And that's usually when they come to me because they're trying to implement some kind of change, but they just keep on getting stuck. And I have found that the main reason people are getting stuck is because of what you said, judgment, and the way people talk to themselves and the kind of relationship that they have with themselves and how they're utilizing their goals. Because when you're going after something new and you're trying to achieve something new, a lot of times your brain and your subconscious, all of like past traumas, and those could be big traumas or like lowercase t traumas, can all just come to the surface. All the things you think and believe about yourself and what you're capable of, it all comes up and just sort of muddies the waters.
So, and it's coming up to serve so that you can change the relationship, change how you think about yourself, change how you sabotage yourself, change how your behavior affects your day.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's what you help people do. So tell us about how, the people that come to you, they are high performers. We talked in the green room before we came on, A type personality people. they have no problem in performing, yet they still have a negative self-image, right?
Yes.
So take us take us, into what does it look like when a person who has that then transforms that, and what happens in their life?
Yeah. So one of the things we talked about in the green room that I think is really interesting is that a lot of times high achievers, high performers, the people I attract, they don't identify that way. In fact, I had to take that wording off of my website because people would see it and they would think, "Oh, that's not me."
Oh,
So, because the way that they see themselves, all they see is how they're not meeting their own really high expectations. And a lot of times, let's be honest, those high expectations are almost impossible expectations. They don't want to do something unless they know that they can do it well and they're going to knock it out of the park like right away. Because a lot of times those people, they're programming, and this is even with amazing parents. I had amazing parents and I had to work through this, is that a child's brain equates achievement with affection, and it equates achievement and hey, you got a good grade and you did great in that piano recital with I'm lovable, I'm worthy. And so what we do is then we recreate that as adults, like we have to achieve in order to be worthy and lovable and feel like we're good enough. But if you're going to do something new, you're not going to be good at it probably when you start. And so, how do you work through that and change your relationship with yourself so then you can go out, fail a whole bunch, and keep going without making it mean something about what you're capable of?
yeah, that's really, really good because, whenever we start something new, it's kind of like I think about it in like you're just starting a new job or whatever. And you come in and it's the first day, and all of a sudden the phone rings.
Yeah,
You don't even know how to answer the phone. you
right.
you don't even really know what to say, right?
Yeah,
So it's that type of learning something new in your new beginnings with however you're going to now move forward to build that level of self-confidence after you're there for a few days. That learning how to answer that phone is going to really build that self-confidence, and then that now that's how you're building that muscle. Is that what you're saying?
exactly. That's exactly it. Because a lot of times, we want to feel confident. And by confident, I mean, we want to know I can do this and I can do it well right away before we take action. But that's going to just keep you stuck in repeating the same things over and over. And whenever you're doing something new, the brain's like, what's happening? It's like when I walk into a different Target and I'm like, where is everything? My grocery, like the grocery shopping takes me twice as long. I don't know where things are. So it's a different kind of confidence that we're trying to do. Not confidence that I know how to do this thing and I'm going to do it well and I know it's all going to work out, but it's a confidence that no matter what happens, I'm going to be okay and I'm going to figure it out. And we're just going to learn and grow as we go.
Yeah, and really to bring that in your business. So you're helping small business consultants, entrepreneurs, high achievers to build that self-confidence in a new way, and achieve in a newer way, in a more gentle way of how they approach things, right?
Yes,
and,
exactly.
and bring that awareness to that it's not like push your way through it,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Because, and I think a lot of times it's like push, I need to just like force myself through it. I'm going to push through. But what that does is it creates this big nervous system response. The nervous system is getting a lot of attention right now, which is amazing because it's always operating, it's always looking for danger. And if you are resistance is really just a boundary. That's all it is. And
Yeah.
and so, if you're pushing through that, you're not honoring your own nervous system response, and you may be creating additional trauma by trying to just pursue your goal.
Right. And if you put so many, like you said, false expectations on yourself, then, that is not, it's not sustainable. It,
Yes,
it's not sustainable because you're not going to be able to show up in that way, and sustain yourself and sustain your energy and feel good about it, right?
exactly. I was just having a conversation with a client this morning about the difference between being all in and going all out. I think we think if I'm not going all out, if I'm not giving this 100% and giving this all my focus and attention and doing everything I can and, pushing myself to my limits, then I'm not really committed. I'm not really all in. But we all have lives. Like we've got a million things going on. Like that's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting to see that. And also to to think about, like, let's slow down for a minute. Really slow down for a minute and really reassess, how do you want to move forward from here. You mentioned the word trauma. And so really truly right now everyone is experiencing like PTSD,
Yes.
right? It's like,
Right.
I mean, we all could use some massages on a regular basis,
Yes.
just from being alive here on this planet with all the change and everything that we're going through.
Exactly. Yes, we're constantly surrounded by trauma all the time. All the
And so it's important that we don't inflict more trauma on ourselves simply because that's what we've always done.
Yes, exactly. There's a different way of doing things. I think you said it so well earlier. You used the word gentle. Like,
Mm,
how can we be gentle with ourselves? How can we use a different kind of motivational system that isn't sort of this? I always think of like boot camp instructors who are like getting in your face and yelling at you. I feel like a lot of us, that is the motivational tool that we try to utilize.
yeah.
And it doesn't work. If it worked, then, nobody would be hiring coaches right now.
Yeah. And really that's kind of like a bullying. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a bullying. That's where we want to walk away from. We want to be more loving. I just want to say that, in my community, I was talking with somebody the other day, and she was saying that she messaged me later and she said, thank you for tolerating my energy, is what, thank you for tolerating. And I wrote her back and I said, I'm not tolerating you because I don't tolerate. I said, I am loving you.
Yes. Yes.
That's the difference, because that I don't tolerate. That's not something I don't tolerate, right? So, but just it reminds me of that gentleness and the things that we have to shift. I want to let the audience know where they can look you up, how they can get in contact with you. Give us your deets.
Okay, my deets. Here we go. So I have a website, ericahanlon.com, and there's a blog on there. But really, I feel like the party is on Instagram. So my Instagram handle is at Erica Hanlon Coaching.
Awesome. Well, Erica, I love the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for helping those high performance achievers out there develop more gentle ways of living and being so that they can really be sustainable in their own right and much happier people, right? Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Erica. We're going to take a break and we're going to be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. My next guest is Wanda Davis. From Head to Heart is her recently released children's book. Themes include effects from bullying, mental health, asking for help, and living your true self. This book is for teachers, parents, grandparents, and anyone who works with children. It opens up discussions about feelings and encourages kids to reach out for the true help they need to gain better mental health. The book will be formally launched in late August, and she is now booking speaking engagements for the fall to visit the classrooms, organizations, and to share these messages. Welcome, Wanda Davis, to the show.
Thank you. Very grateful to be here today.
So this is such a great book that I feel like, even though I haven't seen the book, but when you're talking about mental health, you're talking about bullying, and you're talking about that the book is for teachers and for parents and for educators out there. I feel like even with my last guest that I just spoke to, I feel like that book that you have right there is also a book for adults who
Yes.
have not healed their inner child.
For sure. And that's where I say, yes, I wrote this as a children's book, but mostly because then it is accessible to all ages. And I think even as whoever is reading the book, perhaps just their child or children, yeah, they can be on that healing journey themselves along the way. They can probably relate to parts of this book. There's so many layers and levels to it that I think can really induce the healing journey in people.
So what got you to, write this book and put it out there? What's your passion? What started this amazing?
Well, it's amazing because I was actually going through a kind of a spiritual healing journey myself. I was working with the Gene Keys, which I'm a Gene Keys guide. It's kind of the combination between astrology and I Ching and everything. But going through one of their sequences, the Venus sequence, which is actually kind of like the sequence to help heal the heart, what came out of it was this book. Kind of just very close to the end of it. I just sat down and wrote this book and very quickly. Of course, it's been through some edits since, but yeah, it just flowed out. It's like a story of transformation and hope. And the whole idea, though, it's partly also my story.
Oh,
So the whole idea, it is my story up to a part. And it helps just explain that this can happen and maybe other people can recognize perhaps where this idea of maybe building a wall around themselves has happened in their past. And perhaps it's time for them to seek some help for healing.
I love that. I love that so much. It's so important, especially nowadays with all of the traumas exposed in the world, that we need to be gentler and kinder and more aware so that we don't recreate the same patterns of what we've been conditioned by before, right? So
Exactly. Yes.
I'm very familiar with the gene keys. I think I'm number 51. Is that a gene key?
I'm sure it is. Yeah, there's 64 of them.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, you have a combination of a whole bunch of numbers for your profile. But yes. Yeah, but yeah, just looking at in terms of the different levels of which you can in yes, in this book, kind of like the trauma started out as being bullied, but really whatever that trauma could be taken on whatever other it could have happened.
Mhm.
So it depends what other trauma somebody may have had in their lives. Like for children, it could be moving or their parents divorcing, whereas for somebody else it could have been just living through this pandemic. There are so many levels. It doesn't have to be anything huge, but something where you've had to separate and, you know, try to protect yourself for some reason.
Yeah. The whole bullying thing is just it's something we need to just create more awareness around it, and we need the tools, and so I think it's wonderful that you're going to speak at speaking engagements at schools, and helping the parents and bringing the awareness there. And like I said, I don't think this is just for those people. It's also for adults who are working on healing their inner trauma, their inner child, and they're learning to speak to themselves in a more loving way. Because unless we heal the bully within,
Yeah, it's that inner bullying that whatever mind talk might be going on, that also needs to be looked at. It's that taking its responsibility for yourself to be able to perhaps respond in a more appropriate manner.
yeah, yeah. That's why I think it's so great. I actually, I know we're going to be talking. You and I are going to be talking at another time again, because I already knew right away that I wanted to talk to you again. But I have several people in my KS Media community that have podcasts that you would be a great guest on. And one is actually also into bullying. She speaks in schools about bullying. So she has a podcast, that would be great. And then your book, My Time, with Susan Axelrod, is another one that I'm going to introduce you to these amazing women that are where your book would really fit. So that can help. And this is really how
I
we're.
appreciate that. And that's just it. It's like I feel I wrote this book in order to get it out there to prevent other people building up these other walls against around themselves, right? So
Yeah.
those inappropriate boundaries, people need to realize that how easy they could be putting, segregating themselves off from other people, their relationships, and just the world in general, like the energy. Not, if you're not able to access that beautiful nature energy, perhaps,
Yeah.
you're not going to be naturally and vibrant and healthy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And really that's where it begins. And we have to start, when the children are young, that's really where it begins, in supporting them to build that healthy, loving relationship within themselves, and that bullying is not okay. But it's not okay for anyone to bully you, and it's not okay for you to bully you.
Yes, exactly. And just the fact that it's okay to be different.
Yeah.
You don't have to hide that you are different perhaps than another person, whether that's, by your race, your skin color, your religion, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
Just to be able to have that, sense of self, awareness of self, and appreciation of self.
Yeah. Now, Wanda, you do know that after you write a book, since this is your first book, right?
Well, I am co-author on several other ones, but
Okay.
this is my baby.
This is your baby. So, once you write and publish a book, you are now in the book selling business.
Yes, I am.
Right? You're now in the book selling business, which, you're already supporting your passion to get the book out there. I mean, in as many speaking engagements and podcasts you can get on in as many communities, so that, because again, a book like yours needs to be in every household.
That's my hope. Yes.
Because
that's just the idea, to be able to inspire that hope for generations to come.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, our children are our future. And so it's important that we offer them the tools that they need in order to love each other more, respect each other more, honor each other more, because that's the kind of world we want to live in, right?
Exactly. Like helping children understand what empathy is, and to be able to build those social emotional skills. That's only going to create more emotionally intelligent adults.
Yeah. Who knows where your book is going to go, but I know it's going to go far and wide, and it's going to really support a more loving society. So tell us, is it published? You said late launch in August. What's
well, it's already published. The official book launch is on August the 25th here in London, Ontario, but it is already available either through myself or Volumes Publishing is my printer.
Okay, cool. So how do people get it? Because right now, as you and I are talking, people are driving and they're listening to this podcast, and they're not watching, they're listening. Some are watching, some are listening. So
as long as they have my name, so wandadavis.ca is the easiest way to gain information about this book and how to get your copy.
WandaDavis.ca. Did y'all hear that? WandaDavis.ca. Well, Wanda, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on. I know I'm going to see you again. I'm going to be supporting you and introducing you to a few other people in my community, and so that we can get that message spread out. What do you want to leave us with today?
Well, it's more just that whole idea of to be aware of when you're living in your head, and the fact of living through your heart, you're going to be able to really experience that vibrancy of life and the fullness of life. And of course, being able to love yourself.
Being able to love yourself. Yeah. And that definitely, can you imagine if we would have all been, raised that way in our childhood, to be able to being able to love ourselves from an early age, right?
Yeah.
That
a beautiful world we can create.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Wanda. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you here. I want to thank our audience today for joining us, for listening. Thank you for, sharing your energy. We really appreciate you. And now stay tuned. We have the Rosita Perez show coming up next. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you again next time. You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action.
Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.